And there was one other thing that I wanted to talk about, which is Trump and his presidential show. I feel like it's a presidential show, which it's definitely the most impressive one that I've seen ever. He's made himself look very powerful. Like, here's all the orders. We're going to get rid of Joe Biden's orders. We're going to get rid of all the things that he's done. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. I mean, technically for me, it's just a signature on a piece of paper. It doesn't mean it means absolutely nothing to me. But the population's dumb. The population is dumb, and I think that there's a lot of people that would kind of be going, yeah, 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 even though I feel like all the things that he just signed was just him. It's kind of like it felt almost like he's taken too much inspiration from Elon Musk. I believe Elon Musk was Julius Caesar, the guy who was, I don't really know what his story was, but it was involved in the gladiator rings and stuff. And I just, for some reason, his campaign or his and what's it inauguration seemed more like a gladiator kind of ring. We're winning over John Biden. We've done this. We've done this. We've done this. It was, for me, it was kind of like a show of ego and pride, but it was done in a way that made him that his followers would have absolutely loved. So I'm impressed at him for putting on a good show, and part of getting power is actually getting your people to love you and to look up to you, and even though I didn't think that Joe Biden's policies were that bad, I thought they were quite good. I just, people don't care. I don't know what his policies were, to be honest, and it doesn't. And these things don't even say what you're undoing. I know you're undoing the Paris Accords. I don't know what the Paris Accords is, but I feel like it's going to save you trillions of pounds. It's not going to save you trillions of pounds. It's going to allow you to drill, which is not a good thing, because you're drilling into the ground and this gas is being overwhelmed. But it's true that there are loads of different methods of creating energy through the sun and through magnets even. I don't know how good that is, but there's loads of ways of creating energy. But people don't know that right now. So right now, oil is very expensive. Hence, if you are going to sell oil now, maybe this is the best time to sell it, because when people start realizing that you can make energy off other things, but it's not a good idea though, because it's burning stuff into the air, and it really shouldn't be. I don't know. I don't know. I only know what people have told me, and I believe that that burning oil is causing climate change, and So his whole drill just, to me, just sounds like, let's make the world hotter. Let's make the world hotter, which is great if you're in England, because England is freezing cold. But yeah, it's not great if you live in LA, because that's when fires happen, when things get hotter and there's no rain to put out these fires. It means that trees are not going to be as big, because they're going to be cut down or burnt down, and the new growth is going to be a lot smaller. I don't know. I think LA is going to look a lot uglier because of all the fires. And are they still going? I really hope they're not still going, but I don't know. But drill is definitely not something I would want. I think Trump is definitely not a good president. If this was a good world, Trump is not the type of president that I would want. But when I kind of think about the reality of how bad people are, and the reality of just how awful the world is because of that, I think that Trump is actually a very good leader, because he's got this air of masculinity and this air of I guess ego, but it's this masculine pride, and I think a lot of people look up to this masculine pride, hence why it's important, because people look up to people like Donald Trump, because of the show that he's so good at putting on, and for a world to be controllable, they have to believe in their leader. So a lot of people don't believe in him, but I think I don't know. I think a lot of people hate the world, and they think he's not going to do much good to it. But it's complicated. It's really, really complicated, because there's lots of different types of people, and I too would not support. If this was a nice world, I would not support someone like Donald Trump. But because it's not a nice world, it's like, well, you don't want a corrupt leader, but at the same time, if this corrupt leader is probably going to think more about the wealthy, then the wealthy are going to support him, and the people at the bottom probably aren't going to believe that, because he's very good at he's very good at pleasing the people at the bottom, whilst I think actually helping the people who have the money. And I think he's very good at making many people think that he's the hope of the future. There's a lot of people who believe that he's the hope of the future, and I think they are stupid. But because of that, I think that's perfect. Trump is perfect for that. If the world was full of lovely, nice people, then I would want a lovely, nice president. But the world is not. You know, you watch loads of American films, and Clueless and Buffy and Sabrina and lots and lots of nice films, and you think that this world is so full of character and personality and you know, happy people, and then you look around at the reality, and the reality is that people lack personality, angry, aggressive, dumb, not thinking straight. Okay, I'm in Butlins right now, and there's lots of mentally ill people at this time of year, because I think kids are in school, and the ones that aren't in school are either people with disabilities, or kids, very young kids, families with very young kids. But I don't know. There's a lot of mental illness everywhere, and the shows that you watched 10, 20 years ago did not show a world full of mental illness. I'm seeing it now in films that seem to be coming out in the last few years. The typical human on what they're like, the standard of humans definitely has decreased. You know, I'm seeing more and more videos where there's some sort of psycho killing some woman or whatever, or torturing or kidnapping or whatever. I'm seeing there seems to be more and more of these films, and people are enjoying it. They're watching it obviously because they're being enjoyed. They're getting an audience because people are sick, and sick people love watching other sick people, or people that are a little bit sicker than them. And yeah, if you think about just how sick the world is, then you kind of think that Donald Trump, with this show of dominance, I can control things, I can change things, I can do this, you know, it will be full of lies, but people love lies. You know, lies are beautiful. I think that's why Islam is such a beautiful religion, because it just gives you this complete lie of what God is, and that is beautiful because it's not the truth. And I feel like a lot of people think that lies are beautiful. So if Donald Trump comes in with lots of lies, you know, it's beautiful, and it doesn't matter if it's the truth or not. It's hope, and I think hope is important, even if it is just false hope. But yeah, there was also some things about him taking a lot of people out of prison. That one of them stun gunned a police officer, and he pardoned this guy. And this press guy was asking a question like, "Is that right or wrong?" And he started going on about how there's loads of people that are murderers and who don't get caught and stuff. But I would actually like to point out one of the people in this mad haze of things that are going on stun gunned a police officer. How long for? How long would the police officer be down? Okay, he would have got stung. He probably got a bruise on his neck. He probably would have, you know, been a bit shocked or a bit more cautious for the next few months. But how much suffering did he actually go through, that police officer? You know, because if a police officer gets say hit or stun gunned, you know, surely the damage that would be caused by it would be minimal. Okay, if something happened and he got stun gunned and he fainted, and then some people, I don't know, tripped over him and ended up breaking his leg, well, that's kind of a serious thing. So I don't think that happened. If it's literally just someone getting angry, grabbing a stun gun that a police has, and then sticking it in him, you know, that guy probably would have felt threatened. You know, is he going to do that to me? Because there's loads of people. This guy it sees me as just, or he's trying to blame me as being like part of the mad crush. And he got in prison for 4 years. or 3.5 years. I mean, that is a long time. How many years have these people been in prison for? Because if those people have been who involved in the riots have been in prison for 4 years or 3.5 years, isn't that a long time? Like, the damage that they caused, okay, there's quite a lot of damage, but it wasn't just caused by 100 people. It was caused by lots and lots of people. And okay, I think it would be fair to put them in prison, but we're saying a year. I would say a lot of these people deserved a year. I mean, if you've stun gunned a police officer and he's passed out, and he's passed out for 10 minutes, and then he wakes up, and okay, he's going to be a little bit more cautious in the time, but the amount of damage that you've caused on that police officer is minimal. It's minimal. So why are you going to prison for 4 years? It's like saying, if I punch you and give you a bruise that's going to heal in a week, what do I deserve to go? Okay, it's a police officer, so you shouldn't do that, and I wouldn't do that because the police officer will hit harder. But it's a minimal thing. You should put people in prison according to the damage that they cause on others. If you've broken someone's leg and they're going to take years to heal, then it's fair to put them in prison for years. This person is now disabled because of you for the next year, and so we're going to put you in prison for a year, or maybe 2, as a sort of don't show aggression again. But just to think that you could take someone who's stun gunned someone and put them in prison for many, many years. I mean, prison is a horrible place. You're trapped in just a bunch of bunk beds, and you've lost all your rights. You get treated like you're inhuman. It's a horrible, horrible thing to be in prison, and to think that you could go to prison for a year. I think even 360 days for hurting a police officer that was only hurt for a few seconds and would have recovered after 10 minutes. Well, what the fuck? This is not justice. This is a complete imbalance. So I wouldn't have talked about all the huge numbers of people that don't get caught. No, I would talk about the damage that it was actually affected. If the damage that these people caused on other people is minimal, then why are you putting them in prison for 4 years? Because that's not minimal, that's maximum. That's you hurting them every single day for 4 years, and these people are going to come out of jail and they're going to feel hugely angry over the justice system. And are they smart or are they dumb? If they're dumb, they're just going to hate the Democrats. They're going to come out hating the Democrats because they won't feel like they got put in prison just because humans are so stupid they can't tell the difference between actually hurting someone and just temporary hurting them for a couple of minutes. They can't tell the difference. You attacked a police officer, you deserve to go to prison for years. I mean, that kind of mentality is absolutely stupid, and it shouldn't be something that's just blamed on the Democrats. It should be something that's blamed on the fucking human species that are too dumb to work out what's fair and what's not. Fairness is finding out the damage and the hurt that you've caused on someone, and then trying to hurt them to an equal extent. It's not about finding people who have kicked a police officer and then sticking them in prison for 4 years for kicking a police officer, because technically that police officer would have recovered after 5 minutes, but someone who's been to jail for 4 years is probably never going to recover, because that 4 years of them being in prison is damaged them. And then to think that he's let them out after being in prison for many years, and people are thinking that's not fair. I mean, what the fuck? I don't know what's done what, but I know that all the damage that happened on the White House in those riots is way recovered. I'm sure I don't think there's any. I haven't been there, so I don't know, but I think it's recovered, and it did not take 4 years. So why have you put them in prison when keeping them in prison is just a way of making money out of people? And I just think it's just money. People are just interested in money. You take kids off people, you fail them, you fail their tests, you tell people that they're a danger to their own children, you destroy their ability to like people because of this nasty attitude that they have, and that they're powerless, that they feel because there's nothing they can do because the government's given social services all the power. And if they want to abuse their power by failing people when they shouldn't fail people, they're going to fucking do it because they don't give a shit. They just think we want as many kids in foster care because then our organisation is nice and healthy and we've got loads of people on our list and the government is going to give us us more money, then we can hire more people out, and then I get to have people underneath me that I boss around. And okay, it's not the people saying I'm not getting any money for this, but technically if they lost lots of kids, they would probably find that their job does get taken away, because they say, well, we haven't got enough kids to fund your thing. So they do. It's not about whether or not they get bonus or not. And in the same way, the prison service works in the same way. You find lots of people and you stick them in jail, and the more people that you have in jail, the more the government gives, because we need to keep these people in jail. But do they actually need to be in jail? What damage have they actually caused on people is the real question. And it's just what humans do. Humans just, they have the organization that they want to fund, and they try and get as many people on their lists, whether it's a prison system or a foster care system. I think that this is a big problem, and therefore Donald Trump freeing people, even if they've stun gunned a police officer. Where was that stun gun even from? I mean, if it was a police officer's stun gun, well, that police officer has a stun gun because he wants to use that stun gun on you. And therefore, if you get the stun gun and stick it on the police officer, then you can actually say that that's a self-defense mechanism, because you know that police officer wants to use it on you, and you say, I don't want you to stun gun me, so I'm going to stun gun you. And then to think that they deserve to go to prison for 4 years because of this, I mean, that's terrible. And then to insult him for taking that, I don't know the story. I really don't know the story, but that's just something that's just stuck out. And another thing that stuck out is a few years ago they were saying that there's not enough water in LA. They were saying this a few years ago, and I think Trump mentioned it as well. And I always loved LA. That would be always the place that I'd want to live. And when I heard that, it kind of made me think, oh, like, should I want to have like one base, if there's going to be a world government, I'd love the world government to be from one place. Washington's too cold. It was freezing. It's like -10. It was colder in Washington than it is in UK. I wouldn't want my one base to be in Washington. I would choose LA, but the idea of there not being any water down there, you can't have a city. I was watching this one documentary that sticks in my mind, and they were just saying that LA should not have been built because there was not enough water there. I didn't realize that there was ways to bring water in there down from Canada. I didn't realize that there was ways. Yeah, I remember watching something that says that it shouldn't have been built because there's not enough water, and this is the reason why things in LA are very, very expensive, because there's not enough water, which I agree. I think the reason why farming and food is so expensive over there is because of the lack of water and the cost of water. And so if you can fix that, then I think that's a good thing, because I'd want to have a base, and I love the summer and the heat. And I love countries where they speak English as a first language. So if I was to have a one world base, I guess I would choose LA. I mean, I guess the main reason is because I'm a big fan of American films. I feel like American films shaped my childhood and my upbringing. And I think films have gone shit now, but I will always remember the films of the past and the world that they kept creating in all their films, a world that was much better than the reality of what the world is. And so I've always had a love for LA because of that. But visiting it for the first time 2 years ago, or was it 3 years ago? Bit depressing, because it wasn't quite the dream of what I thought it was.